Here's a tutorial about sewing Gnelson's hat. Once the knitting part is done, we're going to end up with kind of a short stubby hat with a triangle brim, and we are going to turn it into more of a tricorn style by sewing the midpoint of the triangle sides to the side of the hat. So the end from the cast on is already at a midpoint, which is nice and handy dandy. So let's just thread that on our yarn needle and get going. Madeline Tosh's yarn here, Onyx, is truly a dark black, so this might be a little interesting for you in terms of details, but encourage you to use very good light. And also, when you did running the contrast color behind, right now is a good time to get it through to the other side, your ends that is, because the first thing we're going to do is going to sew up and over them. So just tuck those ends through to the other side so that you can grab them later. All right, so we need to count 6 rounds up so that we are placing our midpoint at that place. So just going to squint very hard at these black. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not absolutely important that you nail it. As with all things gnome, the decreases start here. So if that helps you, we're about 2/3 of the way before the decreases. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take the midpoint and fold it up. And I'm just going to pinch it between my finger and my thumb here. And we're just really roughly, without too much fuss here, just going to sew this down about 3 stitches wide. I'm going to go up and down and do what's called a running stitch. If instead of doing this up and down, let me finish it and then I'll explain the alternative. So instead of doing that, you could whip stitch by going through the top of the fabric of the hat and the tip of the brim, but I like the running stitch because it mimics the look of the reverse stockinette. So I've gone about 3 stitches wide. We want it wide enough that it's not just a tiny little, like, we don't want to do just a tiny 1-point attachment. We want it wide enough that it kind of helps the brim to not want to roll too much here and here. If it's too narrow an attachment, this will just kind of like almost form like a mustache. So that's what we're trying to avoid. We want it just wide enough. And then once we're done rolling, doing this, we can give it a bit of a steam and then encourage it to do what we want it to do. All right, so I've sewn that. Now we need to travel with our yarn inside the hat. We could just sort of go around, but I like to just be a little more cautious. So at about 3 points between here and here, I'm just going to slide the yarn partially through a ply here and just kind of catch, almost like catching a float. And I'm just going to travel the yarn a little bit. How much farther do I have to go here? So it would be about there. Okay. Just a little bit. One more. There. And so it's just this little just caught it on the sides there. Then I will count again, or just eyeball it, depending on your mood. I'll count, since, you know, I'm formally doing this. And when you pick it up, make sure you pick up the actual midpoint so that your hat is balanced. And make sure any cat hair from white cats is being removed as you go. Now, I pulled real tight because that's my instinct, but that caused the hat to buckle. So just fight against that if you've done that, and just do a little bit of a running stitch. Obviously, you have to go through both the brim and the fabric of the hat for this to work. If you just catch the brim, it'll be pretty obvious pretty quickly. And that's all there is to this. I hope this helps. Happy gnoming. Arr.